Maryland sports fans, there's only one sports book in the great state of Maryland with over 50 years experience booking bets and supporting customers. Betfred Sportsbook at Longshots is now open and is the only sportsbook in Frederick offering cash betting on football, basketball, world soccer, and more. Visit the Betfred Sportsbook at I-270 and MD-85 in Frederick, right next to Longshots off-track betting. Go to betfredsports.com for more information and your chance to win exclusive merchandise. Must be 21 or older. Play responsibly. For help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Da-da-da-da.
Look at me, Courtney and Amy figure out technology that 10-year-olds use every single day, but we are old and we can't do shit.
Welcome to I'ma Let You Finish. It's Courtney and Amy, where we have shown up this week, unlike Naomi Campbell, not with a new baby.
What the fuck?
Miss Thing, she showed up with a baby.
Okay.
Just when you thought Naomi couldn't give us any more, maybe what we need, what we don't need, or whatever, she was like, watch this, baby.
Okay. Is it her baby?
It's her baby, evidently.
Like she had it?
No. We have seen Naomi Campbell this entire pandemic.
I was going to say,
started a talk show.
Yeah.
You know my favorite part about Naomi Campbell's talk show is that I didn't think anybody could be worse than us in talking over people, except for Naomi Campbell. She'll have all her friends on. She'll ask them a question. As soon as they start to answer, she's like, I didn't even know that is the album. And you're like, bitch, you just asked a question. Are you not going to let the person answer? And now, I live for Naomi. I live for Naomi. I love all the fuckery. I loved messy, cokey, drunk Naomi. I love sober Naomi. I love I'm Here to Save Africa Naomi. I even loved I Can't Sing, I Put Out an Album Naomi. So of course, the next one on the step is This Baby Found Me Naomi.
Yeah, I think we need to discuss this at another time because I just want to say one thing.
There was a lot of information.
There's a lot of information. And it just kind of made me think, child social services? Will the baby have its own phone to throw at people?
Oh, no. Because here's the thing. Come on. Naomi has not thrown a phone in a really long time.
Oh, so okay.
She's not.
I can hardly wait for Foxy Brown to have a baby, too.
Well, she did have a baby.
What?
Foxy Brown has a baby.
Oh, good.
Yeah, she has a baby.
Okay. Where have I been?
Wait, I love Miss Hip Hop, who's the person who actually should know that. Because if anybody, I stayed on the pop and whatever side. You are the hip hop one, and you're like,
I ran into Foxy Brown. I told you the story. You remember Christie's Patties on Flatbush? Remember that?
Oh my God, I used to love, yeah.
You used to love that place. So she was in there once because she lives, and I wasn't quite sure if it was her, but then I saw, I kind of looked and I went, oh yeah, it's her. And she's in there, she's ordering her patties, blah, 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 and she leaves, and the woman behind the counter goes, she is not a nice person.
Which seemed to be the kind of thing that, that's so unfortunate, you know what I mean? Because that really has followed her around as the reputation. And I hate that because...
Her brother's really nice.
Because I am a firm believer when certain shit... Listen, unlike the Richard Gere gerbil story, which I do not believe, I think that certain things... listen... You know it, and I know it.
We got to get into the show. We have to start talking about rodents.
Hold on. This is the show. What do you think the show is? We're not some high intellectual thing, and we're not talking about. I'm just saying it's just unfortunate because and I know being around artists, there's some who everybody thinks are really nice and are really horrible fucking people.
Oh, no one has ever thought she was nice.
No one ever thought she was nice. No one ever thought she was nice. That is true.
There has never been any mistake
with
listen, that.
Nice can be overrated, but I think you should be nice to your fans. I've always felt like in business you have to be tough, but be nice to the motherfuckers who you're asking to buy your shit. Okay, speaking of nice, the homosexuals.
Wait, are we doing the mayor's race? We want to do that first? Or
Let's go to the homosexuals and then the mayor's race.
Okay.
the homosexuals of New York City Pride have decided until 2025 that the cops are not going to be allowed to march. So, every year it's always like the gay police officers march in the Pride Parade.
Right.
And that they don't want them to be within a block of any of the gay festivities.
Okay.
What do you think?
Okay, first off, I would imagine that it's very difficult for a police officer or a fire person to come out because it's a macho profession.
Yes.
There is a huge difference between having police presence at the march, meaning on the sideline with the batons and the barricades, and being an openly gay cop and marching with your brothers and sisters. And to me, that is the most exclusionary. It's awful. There is a huge difference because now you've just stigmatized them double time. They're not saying, it'd be one thing they say, we don't want a police presence, like lay back, we don't want to have that. But you can't march with us because you're a cop, you're no longer part of the community? I do not like that.
I have to say,
right?
I listen, and I hear them where they say Pride is a protest, because Pride is a protest, right? That's
yes.
What it's the celebration of a protest. I don't like, okay, how do I, listen, from the beginning, Pride was always so amazing, right? You just spilled into the streets of the village. It wasn't this contained, hey, Spoonie, it wasn't this contained situation the way it's become lately where, they do this new thing with parades in New York. You got to walk 5 blocks to cross the street.
Right. They kind of rope you off in a way, right?
I can understand if they were trying to say, listen, with the police, we need a different plan of action. I don't like excluding our brothers and sisters and saying, you can't march with us. Listen, I absolutely, and as a black gay man, as a black man, not even the gay part, and whose father was NYPD, who now as an adult, I remember the conversations that we had that didn't make sense to me. It just didn't make sense. And as an adult, it's like, holy shit, your father was saying all of this shit to you, and he was the police. I don't like it. I understand maybe changing the presence a little bit, the way the parade and the events are policed. But at the same time, I feel like there are a lot of people who don't like gay people, and there's a lot of shit that can happen. And when you put out announcements that the police are not welcome to be here, we're going to have our private security. This is still New York City, and we need to protect people.
Now I'm confused. Now I'm a little confused. Is it that they don't want?
It's both.
It's both. Okay.
They're saying they're hiring a private security firm to do security, and they want the police that would normally guard the events to be at least a block away.
Okay, but how about, are gay cops going to be able to march in the parade?
No,
that's the part.
No, not until 2025.
That is the part.
Yeah, I don't like. That's the part I don't like.
That is just any oppressed minority. As soon as you start oppressing somebody else, then you've done white supremacy's work for them. You know,
I don't like that portion of our show because we do have problems with the police. Absolutely,
yes,
but
of course,
I also say to people, we need the police. I'm not out here thinking that the streets just love me and there's some straight, safe Shangri-La either. So we have to find a balance. And and that part I don't like. So let's move on to I'm with you.
They're gonna hire the Nation of Islam?
I don't know who this
who are they gonna hire?
Because here's the thing. First of all, NYPD is gonna have to show up because
of course it's a city event.
By Wednesday, we go to 100% everything. No more regulations, right? We tape this show on Tuesdays, guys, so that's why Wednesday. By Wednesday, that's gone. So it's going to be 88 degrees tomorrow in New York. It's some weird shit. If you don't think by Pride Week, that weekend in New York City.
It's going to be nuts.
With people, there was no Pride last year, and last year would have been New York's 50th anniversary. There's no way. There's just no way.
Yeah.
It already feels nuts. People are already like losing their shit. You know?
Yeah. I just don't like exclusionary stuff
No.
based solely on because then you can never have a dialogue. You can never have a conversation if you flat out say, we don't want you here.
And listen, I'm
in terms of marching. And I'm marching.
And I'm over all of the us versus them, because at this point, we got to figure out how do we move forward.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, all right. Now, speaking of us versus them, I'm voting for anyone but Andrew Yang in the mayor's race. ABY, baby. ABY. ABY. Andrew, anyone but Yang.
The funny thing about him is, and I see for the Asian people why to have a face that represents would be important, but he's the wrong guy. He's not the guy. He's not the guy. He's the wrong He's like, my wife was born and raised in Queens. Like, but at least he knew how much a house, the average price of a house in Brooklyn was. Because
kind of, sort of.
Because he said at least he said 900,000. The fact that Ray McGuire and that Josh dude whose whole commercials just say everything Obama thought it was 100.
Josh?
Thought it was
Sean.
Sean. Thought it was $100,000. $100,000. It was like,
I know.
It was like 100.
No, well, we have a mayor's race in New York. It's going to be the first time we have ranked voting. Let's put it this way, Andrew.
Why are we doing that? Did we vote for that?
I don't know. I have no idea. But we may have. It may have been one of those ballots that nobody reads. It's on the back, and you go, yeah, sure. But if Andrew Yang were a woman, he would not have even made it this far because he has zero qualifications to be. I have more qualifications to be mayor because at least I voted in the mayoral election, which he has never done.
Right.
And I didn't leave the city. And I
know. I love how he said it so earnestly too. Remember, he was like, I mean, we live in a 2-bedroom apartment in Manhattan. It's a pandemic. Like, what? How can we all be there and all have to be home? Like, what?
So I'm voting. It's starting to shake out a bit. It's interesting. Fox News or Tucker Carlson has endorsed Eric Adams, who's the black former cop, Brooklyn DA. So that's the kiss of death for Eric Adams.
What?
Done. The New York Times endorsed Catherine Garcia, who several of the candidates have said they would hire if they were elected mayor, which is basically
I'm kind of leaning toward her. I hate her commercials.
Her commercials are the worst.
They are terrible. But you know what? I don't need my politicians to be cool. I'm over rock star politicians. I need you to be educated and good at the job. I don't need you to get it right. You know.
And it's typical male behavior that they're like, well, we don't want the woman to have the job, but we want her to clean up and do all the work so that I can take credit for when things are running.
Right.
Hakeem Jeffries has endorsed Maya Wiley, who I like a lot.
You like her,
I like her. I'm going like I did with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I'm going all girl.
First of all, this election will be who turns
Major.
up because there's so many implications, right? There's even for like, first of all, tell everybody, please vote in your local elections. Those are the ones that actually make the difference in all the shit that you guys are saying. This is our
local election.
And that's why I'm reminding everybody, I'll remind them every show. Like the first primary is the 22nd of June. Like I know we have all these city council seats, my city council seat. Listen, I've had people.
Everybody's up. I think everybody's up this year.
And I have had people knocking on my door, doing door-to-door campaigning for people. And you know what? This time I've answered and I'm listening and I'm having the conversations. And
I've already decided.
So at this point, I've kind of made my decision on the Manhattan DA, on my who I work with, my city council person, everything.
Yeah. No, it's going to be a very interesting election, but it would really just be a damn shame without getting too regional if Andrew Yang won, just because he is utterly unqualified. And not only is he utterly unqualified, he is in the pocket of some major special interest, major, what are those guys called? Not influencers, lobbyists.
Yeah.
You know, he's just... And, you know, the cutesy, you know what? I don't need cutesy. I don't need rah, 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 and walking around with the stupid scarves on.
This motherfucker doesn't know anything about the city. Whenever he doesn't know anything about the city, he puts his foot in his mouth.
He is not a tech giant. He has never run a company.
No.
He's just entertaining.
No.
And so Boo. Boo.
And I don't like his haircut. It's like, don't come to me with that fucking haircut.
I don't like the scarves.
And try to fucking talk to me with that hair. It's not good. Fix it.
All right.
Okay.
Fix it. Fix your hair. Fix your face and fix your hair.
And speaking of fixing my face, I wouldn't know what my face looks like because one day they say, wear a mask. Don't wear a mask. You can wear a mask. Don't wear a mask. I don't know what's happening. What's happening?
Confused.
Can you explain what's happening?
No, because I wish they'd given us some warning. I would have done my eyebrows or something. Jesus Christ. One day I'm like stockpiling masks, and the next day it's like, we don't need them anymore. So so you're vaccinated, I'm vaccinated, everybody I know is vaccinated. So to be able to be in a room with everybody and be outside and not have to worry, I am walking around more without a mask. I have it under my neck. I pull it up because, that's fine. But the thing that is, a lot of stores now are going to say you don't have to wear a mask. Oh, excuse me. If you're vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask. Well, I am sure that all those nice people who hated wearing masks and refused to I am sure they're going to be 100% honest, Courtney.
Right.
Are you fucking kidding me? Hey, have you been vaccinated? Yeah, sure. I work with a guy. A volunteer with a guy who would never wear a mask. He's a complete pain in my ass. And I said, would you just put on the mask already? Oh, I can't breathe. Oh, yeah, that's an original one. Okay. You're the first person who's ever said that. And then he said, I got vaccinated. Oh, I got the Johnson & Johnson. I got my 2 shots. And I went, and you have not been vaccinated. Because there is no 2-shot Johnson & Johnson. You would be dead.
Well, so you might be dead with 1 shot of Johnson & Johnson, allegedly. Listen, no, you know I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I'm not an
anti-vaxxer. I know that. No, of course not. We got ours 3 times. And now Courtney speaks fluent Hungarian and is controlling the banks.
And here you guys, this is how we fight, y'all. Don't be panicked. This is us on a normal. This is us on a normal.
First time we've seen it.
Yeah.
Wait, let's go like this.
Right. We're doing this over Zoom, so we're actually seeing each other for the first time doing this show. And I'm like, oh shit, there's Amy.
Wait, you're white?
I always forget that, and then you pop on the screen, and I'm like, oh shit. Oh, Amy just had a birthday, everybody. Say happy belated birthday to Amy when you're reading this. Leave comments and say happy belated.
No, God, please don't even remind me. Courtney, with the build up for Courtney, it's going to be like, it's going to start at Pride Week and work its way all the way through,
but
right?
You know, like, I haven't done really Pride in a long time, but this year I feel like I'll probably do some things with the people only because we've all been, and not really big shit, but I'm sure my friends, somebody will have something in a backyard or some shit, you know?
Yeah, no, it's definitely, I also think, no, it's definitely, but what you were saying, getting back to the mask thing, it's completely confusing. It's whiplash. The point is, yes, it is true that if you are vaccinated, you can be outside. You don't have to wear your mask when you're riding your bike. You know, you be polite if you're around people. But this idea that we're going to do it on the honor system, are you fucking kidding me?
Wait, in New York. Hey, you vaccinated? Yeah, sure.
Sure. Right. Hey, person with the MAGA hat on. Oh, yeah, no, I'm vaccinated. It's all good. Okay. Yeah. You know what? So that's a little much. I mean, that's what makes me nervous because I am like you, Courtney. We've talked about this. We are trying to un-PTSD ourselves.
Yeah, kind of. And I'm getting a little better at it. Like you and I both.
Me too.
I'm getting a little better at it. Being like, bitch, you've done all you can do. You've done everything you can do. You really. And I still wear my mask. I'm not walking around mask. But today, for the first time, I was coming from the market and it's warm outside. And I was the only one, and I took my mask down off one ear, and I was like,
"Feels nice, right?"
It does.
Well, I felt like car.
I felt all dangerous, like I did some shit.
I know, like look at me, living La Vida Loca.
You know what I'm saying? It was very that.
No, it's look. We got vaccinated for a reason. We didn't get vaccinated just so we could have some microchip put in our arm for no good reason.
That's true. Because if they're going to be reading my thoughts, at least don't give me the COVID.
Right, exactly. So you're like me, I think, in the sense that we know intellectually we are not going to, if we, God forbid, do get COVID, even though we're vaccinated, we will not get that sick. It'll just be like, I don't feel good. We know this. But it's just that we have had a year, like everyone else in the United States, we have had a year and change.
This year beat me the fuck up, man.
Right.
But it's also been
having
great because our show has grown and we kept going, but it beat me the fuck up. It was weird.
No, so we have to rethink anything. And I
Yeah.
also think if you're anything like me, and I think you're a little like me too, in that we're super outgoing and social, but basically socially retarded at the same time.
Very, very. That whole thing.
We're outgoing and loud and reading people right and left, but we're anxious.
And sometimes I'm just the wrong bitch and I'm like, I think I fucked up.
Right. But there has been some weird comfort in like, oh, I can't do that. Someone said the funniest thing. They went, so does that mean now that we're all vaccinated that I can't just give the it's COVID excuse to go to not go to a show I didn't want to go to in the first place?
No, you can still do it because the thing is everybody understands. Everybody's at their own level of it. You can still be like, I'm just really, and people will be like, I know. If I didn't have to come to work, I wouldn't be there.
I went to a shoot the other day. I did a shoot the other day, and it was in a small space, and everybody was vaccinated except for one guy. But I thought we'd get COVID tested, but we didn't because it was like a small little thing. But I was like, if this had been 6 months previous, I would have been like, I'm not doing this. And
no, 6 months previous, you'd have been like, studio, bitch. I'm not going to nobody's studio. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah,
like,
I'm not
and wait, and you would have been like, there is someone in there who is not vaccinated. What? I'm not coming near any of you. You would have been like, I'm not even talking to you on this phone. The phone gave me COVID.
No, it's so
and
true.
Speaking of that, can we just talk? The theme to Dynasty. Ladies and gentlemen,
are almost the champions, my friend.
I know that the Nets had $1 gazillion and they bought their team and they have a higher seeding. But let me just tell you something. New York City always will be a motherfucking Knicks town. You notice that even though all this shit is happening in Brooklyn and it's like boom, 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 the story is across the bridge at Madison Square Garden, the Mecca. The Knicks finally pulling their shit together and being like, we are the fucking New York Knicks. And guess what? For us hardcore fans who are not fair weather fans, who stuck through all the bad years, we deserve this motherfucking moment.
And by all the bad years, you mean every year since 1972?
Yes. Well, no, because we had some good ones in the 80s.
Yeah, we did.
Where basketball was really being played hard. I feel we're back to having a scrappy team where people are playing hard,
Let me tell you something. It used to be when you were a Knicks fan, it used to be, first off, I have watched more Knicks game this year than I've watched probably in the last 10 years. Okay? Because I'm interested.
Yeah.
And thank you for letting me know which channel they're on.
Yeah, I'll always say that because I'll be like, it's ESPN now.
I'm like, ESPN, 570 on Fios. I'm there. Something happened the other day, which as a Knicks fan, you can relate to, I believe. The Knicks were playing the Celtics. They were up, and I hate the Celtics. Everybody hates the Celtics. They were up by 24. I went, up by 24. I can leave the room safely. Right. Now, 5 years ago, 2 years ago, 1 year ago, up by 24 would have been, I could come back. I could come back. They were up by 4, and I knew they're still going to win this thing.
Right.
And they did. I'm so happy. I feel like life is worth living now.
Listen.
Julius Randle. Where have you been all our life? Where have you been all our life?
But this is his superstar making year. He's been in the league for 7 years. Derrick Rose coming back to New York and finding a new life and being amazing. RJ Barrett finally seeing why he was chosen. Like
the guy with the weird
hair. Third in the draft and Quigley, they're really
Who's the guy with the weird hair? Who's the guy with the weird hair? I like him.
Dana, I don't know who you're talking about with the weird hair.
He's got like sort of like a weekend on a lost weekend hairdo with blonde tips. He's really good. I just don't remember his name. Google it. He's okay. Here, I'll narrow it down for you. He's tall and black.
Wait, hold on. Let me see. As we talk on the phone. Wait. Yeah. Knicks.
Guy with weird hair. With weird hair.
I love that you guys tune in to hear the fuckery of the show. Knicks
not weird hair, but he's got like
Knicks player with dreads. It came right up. It's like
what's his name?
Okay, hold on. Let's see. Oh, is this him?
What?
No, that's Chris Copeland. I don't think that's him.
Well, anyway,
Wait,
praise
this is
be
blonde
for
one.
him
There's
too.
a
We're
bunch.
very happy about that. We're just happy that we're in the and we're begging for tickets, and it's never going to happen, but we're begging. All right, you wanted to talk about baseball, a sport I have not been paying attention to.
Basketball.
Oh, you said no, you said the Baseball Hall of Fame.
The basketball. Kobe and all of those guys.
Oh, you said, all right, your
Did I say baseball?
Yes,
So,
and I was wondering what the hell you were talking about.
Somebody's motherfucking balls, honey. We're talking about the balls, and they are the Hall of Fame balls.
All right, so
balls to the wall.
Who made it in this year besides Kobe?
Well, Kobe's class is the class of 2020, right? So they got their enshrinement the other week because because a girl. because of COVID. They keep this thing.
Right. How quickly we forget.
But you know, it's Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett. Like it was really
Tim Duncan.
Yeah. Everybody loves Tim Duncan and a couple of women. Tamika, what's her name? Tamika Collins, I think her name is something like that.
Oh,
but
okay,
it's like
cool.
Kim, the coach for the women's basketball at LSU. So they had a really great class. And then the 2021 class was announced, and they'll be enshrined in September. And that's Paul Pierce, the truth, who was the Boston Celtics, who, you know, I never liked him when he was on Boston, but I have to say, I grew to like him on ESPN, and then he got fired for, you know, titty stripper game, which I feel like was really
Was he the one who had the Benzino incident? Wasn't Paul Pierce involved with Benzino in some way?
Oh, God, was he?
Sorry, that's really inside baseball. Yeah, Paul Pierce had something to do with, what was Benzino's horrible rap group? The almighty RSO. He had something to do with that.
Why are you pulling that out? It's
because I associate that with Paul Pierce. It wasn't Paul Pierce's fault. It was some whatever. Because Ed G and the Bulldogs were not available.
Oh my! This show, I would just to announce.
I'll take obscure Boston hip hop groups for $400. Well, that's great. I'm assuming it's in Cooperstown, not Cooperstown, Springfield, Massachusetts, Springfield. Have you ever been to the Basketball Hall of Fame, museum?
I've never been to the Basketball Hall of Fame. I haven't been to the football hall. I haven't been to Canton, and I've not been to Cooperstown upstate.
Cooperstown is cool. I went when it was closed, unfortunately. It was a holiday. I didn't realize it. But you would love the Basketball Hall of Fame. It's really
I'm sure
great.
I would.
Really
it seems like it'd be me. I really want to go to Canton to see the Football Hall of Fame.
And speaking...
all of those balls.
And speaking of balls, Joe Budden.
I know you like him.
But
why is he always so fucking problematic? It's like, so you fire everybody from your show. He seems like that person who's like, I'm the star. Me. Just me. Me. Like, why is everybody gone? You're not a good boss if everybody is gone. You're not. And you're not a good leader if every time it's you, it seems to be chaos around you. It follows this dude everywhere.
Why don't you explain what happened? Just so Joe Budden, everybody knows who he is.
Had a really popular podcast, and they feel like they were really popping off and about to really blow up. And then he has Rory and his other co-hosts, and he just fired everybody.
Was this the Spotify
and now
podcast?
Yes, and now Olivia Dope is saying that she was sexually harassed by him when she was under his Spotify.
Who is that, Olivia Dope? I'm so dumb. I'm sorry. Who is she?
She's one of the hottest DJs going. She's a really great black female DJ who does a lot of great events and dope stuff. She's really, really dope and very popular in the culture. And evidently she had a deal, because he got his little spot, his podcast network on the Joe Budden Network. And he would say really inappropriate things in front of everybody about how he wanted to fuck her in meetings and all of these things, and she just felt really uncomfortable a lot around him.
I know he had the Spotify deal and then he quit that because he wanted ownership. I forget.
Yeah.
All right. So here's my deal. okay, need to preface this. I am well aware of the fact that the guy is more than likely a scumbag. I think we can all agree on that.
Right.
My dealings with Joe Budden are very, very long time ago when he was signed to Def Jam and he had that first album and he was being positioned as like the next big thing.
He was supposed to be the big thing. He was supposed to be a big deal.
Big thing. And I remember posters all over Fort Greene. And so I did his bio and then I interviewed him twice. And I have to say, first off, he was not only on time, he was there early. Oh my God, I'm loving this. He was not only on time, he was early.
Mm-hmm.
He was he used to call me Amy Linden. He was
I think everybody calls you Amy Linden. But
he was the first one. Right. Like one name, Amy Linden.
Right.
He was here's the thing about me. When I interview mainly male artists, I very rarely get hit on. I think I present myself as I'm there to do an interview and I'll obviously be nice to you, professional. Right. So I don't present fuckable in interviews. Right. So he was very nice to me. I found him to be incredibly bright. At the time, he was talking very openly about his issues with drug addiction. He was talking very openly about being in therapy. This was a long time ago. This was, this is in the early 2000s, late 19. Rappers were not talking about being depressed and being anxious and mental illness back then.
No,
now,
definitely they were not.
Thankfully, the conversation has opened up. But then, so I interviewed him, and I thought he was really smart and interesting. But at the same time, there's that guy, and then there's the guy who's being credibly accused of slapping women around, he's problematic. Is that the best way to put it?
Yes, that's the best way to put it. Absolutely.
And
because because all of the stories, it's like I don't really dig too deep. I don't know, but I just know that I keep hearing your name, and it's always around something that doesn't sound right.
It's messy, and I think like most people, if he's not currently being treated or whatever, I don't know what I just know that I'm not defending him because I know he's problematic and I've seen him on Love and Hip Hop and he's problematic, but he's just super smart and it's a shame because he's somebody.
Yeah, but you know what? But he seems like
he's self-destructive. He's self-destructive.
There are some people who are super smart and they're assholes. So, I'm not saying he's an asshole because I don't know him. I have met him. But that doesn't mean I know him. You know what I mean? Right. It's like I was in a room with him for a couple of minutes and didn't really speak to him. So I don't say whatever. But I will say every time I hear your name,
it's messy.
It's usually not something good. So when I hear that kind of energy, I'm usually thinking, well, it seems to follow you wherever you go. You're the problem. Because it seems no matter where you go, there's something.
Yeah, no, I think he's definitely, for whatever reason, but all I can say is that I'm not defending him, especially when it comes in terms of sexually harassing women, not even close. But I'm just saying that it used to be this running joke because an old boyfriend of mine once said, you and his mother are the only two people who give a fuck about Joe.
You and his mother are the only two people who give a fuck about him. Real talk.
But this was a long time ago. When he was an artist on Def Jam. It's a long time. Pump it up. It's a long time ago.
Which still turns the party up. Remember, he was supposed to be the shit. It was supposed they were setting him up like he was the next generation rap. It was, if I remember correctly, they gave him didn't he get a big deal? He was supposed to be ushering a next generation at Def Jam.
Of New York rappers. He was going to be the street. He was an underground mixtape rapper. He had no presence other than the underground. They signed him, and he was going to be the next big New York rap star. Then politics, Def Jam, issues with Jay-Z, blah, blah, blah. But no, he was poised. The setup on him was that he was going to be the next guy, without a doubt. And then gravity, and then gravity happened. All right. What else is on your mind, my friend? What else is on your mind?
You know why I love going into summer, which is third quarter, then into fourth quarter, because we always start to get some good music, right? And this pandemic is starting to not disappoint. I had no idea that Georgia Smith was going to drop an EP. Now, I have this thing when artists drop music and then they give you a full disclaimer with it. I hate that. So her disclaimer with it is, these are the songs that would never make my second album, and you know they're different, like the excuses for them. But you know I made them, so somebody needs to hear them. As opposed to just be like, hey, I'm recording my second album that's coming out in 2022. Here's some music. Now, with that being said, I like these 8 songs. I'm a big Georgia Smith fan. I know I complain about a lot of these newer artists, especially some of the R&B artists, don't really have distinctive voices. They all have that sort of voice. And she kind of falls a little bit into the pattern of having that sort of wispy R&B voice. But I like her song lyrics. So that takes her to a different place for me. And I like her writing. And I like this EP. I like it. It's a weird little thing. It's not overproduced, and I enjoy it, and it makes me excited for a new album next year from her.
Okay, I didn't know. Thank you for hipping me to it too, but I didn't know that it was a sort of appetizer record. And yeah, I'm with you. I don't need the disclaimer. Don't give me the excuse. Put the music out. Don't give me, because already what you're doing when you do that is saying, well, you don't really need to pay attention to this because it's really not that, but just put the record out and be done with it.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't make excuses for your music. I don't like that.
Just do it.
Just
put
do
it out.
it. And be like, it's like, it's not my record, but here's an EP. It's good enough for me to give it to you guys. Here it is that I'm presenting to you. Absolutely.
You are charging people money to buy it, right? You're not giving it to anybody.
Right.
I listened to some of it. I liked it. I'm exactly with you in terms of this kind of, could I pick her out of a crowd? Probably not. I'm getting a little Corinne Bailey Rae or Ray Bailey or whatever, who I'm not a huge fan of.
I love Corinne Bailey Rae.
I'm not a big, to me, they're all kind of like girls who grew up listening to Sade but never listened enough to Sade. Like they just sort of got the glimmer of it, you know, the outside stuff. But I like it. It's a very good spring into summer record.
Yeah.
It's very good with that.
What do you think of J. Cole?
You know, okay, now J. Cole is, you know, to me, he's an interesting guy because he's talk about someone who's being positioned. He was positioned from jump to be the next Nas. From day one.
He went from mixtape, from that album one, he was always
for the next Nas. And talk about basketball, he's playing in an African basketball league now, which I kind of love.
Which is the NBA doing their offshoot, right?
Yeah. But I've always found really, first off, I loved him as a producer. I think he's one of the few rappers who's as good a producer as he is a rapper in a lot of ways. He did early stuff with Kendrick. I think J. Cole's really interesting. I haven't listened all the way through to it. But what I think is interesting about J. Cole, in it, you know, us old people, we complain about the young people and their hippity hop and what they listen to now. J. Cole has got a lot of popularity among the same kids who listen to Pop Smoke and Juice WRLD and all the babies, this and that. But he's not that guy. He's giving him something that these other guys aren't giving. He's an interesting character to me.
But this is where, to me, and I always talk about education, and I'm not saying other guys are not educated. I'm just saying he's a college-educated guy. Yeah. He's a married guy. So, like, he's got this whole private life. And I think his approach to his lyrics and what he's talking about and how he speaks to things, I think all of that informs his language and his communication skills.
Yes. And he also was an army brat, and he grew up around the world. He's someone who saw the world. He's a very bright guy. I interviewed him, I think, for the first record. Exactly. He's someone who has had a lived experience before he became a star. Right. So he, you know, has been with the same woman for a long time. He went to St. John's. He's kind of, he's a little, his palette is a little broader than a lot of other artists.
Right. So I feel like
reflexive.
I feel like he's got that talent, and then when you have other things to pull from, it just and his mind he seems to have shit to say. I like it. I like him.
Yeah, no, I like him too, and I am pleasantly surprised.
It's a good record. The off season is a good record. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm pleasantly surprised that he has sustained a career and that each record has been bigger than the next.
Yeah, and you're right. He really was positioned. From the beginning, it was like there was an anticipation for that first record, like it's coming.
Well, wasn't he one of the first guys on Rock Nation?
Yes.
He was one of the early signings.
Yeah.
So, but it's also encouraging, and I mean, I think you're saying it exactly. It's encouraging when one of the good guys makes it. When one of the guys, you cannot be like, oh God, I can't believe I'm listening. He's not a guilty pleasure.
Right.
You know what I mean? Right. You don't have to go, well, it's really not good for me, but I really like it. But he's also not so conscious that you're getting a headache because it's like, okay, got it, you know?
Right.
Thank you very much for telling me that there's a Morcheeba record.
Yes, there's a new Morcheeba record, Black
Who
is
knew?
Blue. What do you think?
I like it. I like me some Morcheeba.
It's kind of a return to the sound of their earlier their earlier records.
Very much. It's sort of like a nostalgic, hey kids, do you miss trip hop? Here we are. Mm-hmm. We're back.
But you know, this is their like 10th album, right? They put out a lot of records.
Yeah, I know. And it's the same duo, right?
Well, you know, it was a trio in the beginning. It was the brothers Paul and Ross Goffrey. Paul left the group probably around 2012, and Sky was gone from 2005 to around 2012. Who's the vocalist? Who's back? And you know, it's so funny. I was listening to it again last night. I had it on. I was doing some stuff in the house, and it's definitely like, oh, okay. It really did give me warm nods back to their early records and that feeling very trip hoppy without sounding old. But I like it. I like it too. So.
I do too, and it would be really interesting since God knows every other era and genre has been regurgitated and re-examined. It would be interesting if we sort of start dipping into that sound because we dipped into every other aspect of the 90s.
It's true.
Why not dip into this? Because it's not a sound that got over commercialized or overplayed and there's so many undersung artists within that genre, and you can still perform that stuff live. It doesn't matter if you can dance or sing or look cute. Right, you can still go out there and do the music. I have been listening to nothing but the sound of the voices. No, I'm not listening to anything new right now, not because I haven't wanted to, but just because I wasn't aware of it. So I thank you.
You ever listened to the St. Vincent record? She has a new record as well.
I don't understand her. I just don't understand her. And it's not saying about her. I just don't understand what the big deal is about her. And I'm a little
this is one of those records that critics are loving. So, you know, this is going to be one of those like best of the year list type records.
She's always had critical acclaim, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. The thing here's my only fear, and I will listen to it because I respect your opinion and I want to listen to it. Can there be one woman who's not working with Jack Antonoff, for fuck's sake? Right. I mean, I and it's nothing against him. He's really talented, but after a while,
there's a line out the door waiting to get in there. Yeah.
After a while, it's good. It's like, is this your way of getting back at Lena Dunham? You're just going to work with every woman in the world. After a while, how many sounds can he pull out of his trick bag? It's going to be the same record over and over. So
you know what else you need to check out that we didn't talk about? And I should have told you. Have you checked out London Grammar's record, California Soil?
No.
California Soil. It's real. Okay. Pull that up on your Spotify. You'll like it.
Okay. All right. Yeah, no, like I said, it's no disrespect to Jack Antonoff, but it's so funny to me where pop artists get slammed for using the Max Martins and the same people over and over again, but rock artists, it's enough. I tell you what I would like to read it, and I posted something up on our Facebook page about it, Sinead O'Connor has a memoir coming out, and I think that would be fascinating.
Be a good one.
And it's not nice to Prince.
No, and listen, Bill, our buddy Bill is really good friends with her, and that I went to see her in concert with him, and she was just amazing.
Oh, I bet.
And I'm sure she's got some shit to say.
Oh, yeah, and she's someone who was very, very, was painted badly for no good reason. Yeah. Because in hindsight, she was
telling the truth, right?
Yeah, in hindsight, she was absolutely right about the Catholic Church.
No one was trying to hear what she was saying, but she was trying to say, this has been happening in Ireland. And they were like, how dare you? She's like, it's going down.
Right. All right. Anything else you want to wrap up with? Anything?
Just to tell the people, listen, guys, you've rocked with us. This show is moving to a new network. We're not ready to announce it yet, but we're moving. Exciting things are coming. And thank you for rocking with us, man. Like, you've grown with us. You've rocked with us for 2 years, man. It's about to be 2 years of I'ma Let You Finish. So
crazy, right?
It's crazy. We were trying to figure out if we'd make it to 10 shows. And in 2 weeks, we'll be at 50 shows. It's kind of nuts. You know what I'm saying? So
we're the show that's eligible for AARP.
You know what I'm saying? And honey, and you get discounts if you listen to us, goddammit. So just remember, like us, leave reviews, star us, follow us on Twitter at FinishIma. Follow us on Facebook if you're over 40 at I'ma Let You Finish, all one word.
Well, if you're under 40, you can follow us on Facebook too.
Except nobody under 40 is on Facebook. Except nobody on 40 is on Facebook.
It's true.
You can follow us.
It's so true.
They're not there. They don't give a shit.
They're not there.
You can follow us on Instagram at I'ma Let You Finish NY. You can follow us on I don't know what else. And and I DJ on Twitch sometimes. So go if you have a Twitch account, follow me on Twitch at Court Monty, because sometimes I do I'ma Let You Finish inspired live playlist. And listen, we got so much great shit coming for you guys. Thank you for rocking with us. Thank you for our guy Angelo, who is the third member of this show, Angelo, who absolutely edits and does all of our shit. Thank you to all of you guys for listening. And we'll be seeing you next week. Deuces.
All right, take care, guys.
Spring training is right around the corner. So come for the games and have a ball in Arizona. With world-class resorts, unbeatable dining and nightlife, amazing scenery, and endless outdoor adventure. Make your visit unforgettable. Plan your getaway at myspringtraining.com.
It's NFL draft season, and that means it's time to start thinking about fantasy football. FantasyPoints.com features industry-leading experts and prognosticators using proprietary hand-charted data to help you score more fantasy points. FantasyPoints.com is the place to go for whatever kind of fantasy football you play. Whether you play fantasy football, daily fantasy sports, or do a little bit of everything, Fantasy Points has the meticulously researched content to guide you to victory. And why wait for the fall? Fantasy Points also covers the new spring football league, the UFL. Join the guru, John Hansen, Scott Barrett, Joe Dolan, and other massive names in the fantasy football universe with an exclusive offer. Use code Pantheon for 15% off any Fantasy Points package, including the all-in package, with access to every article, tool, and data nugget that Fantasy Points has to offer. That's FantasyPoints.com and code Pantheon for 15% off at Fantasy Points. FantasyPoints.com, code Pantheon. Score more fantasy points.